This video is about alternative methods to the traditional method of multiplication. Let's start with the traditional method. We use 24 times 16 as our example. We begin with 24 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. Now we multiply the 24 by the 1. But that's not really a 1, it's a 10. So I need to put a 0 here as a placeholder. Now I can multiply 24 times 1. Well, 1 times 4 is 4. And then 1 times 2 is 2. All I need to do now is add those partial products. 4, 8, 3. I get 384 as my answer. Now that we know that answer, let's take a look at the non-traditional methods of multiplication using the same problem. In this first method, called the lattice method, we've created a grid and put our 24 and our 16 on the outside of the grid, each with its own row or column. The first step we need to do is multiply each digit up here with each digit down here and enter our answers inside the box. So I'll begin on the right hand side. We'll do 4 times 1, which is 4. Notice I put a 0 there as a placeholder in the tens place. And then 4 times 6 is 24. Working on the left with 2, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 6 is 12. Now what I need to do is add down each column or each slanted row like this. I get 4 here. 4 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. And then 2 plus 1 is 3. You see my answer is the same as before. It's 384. Well, this method I've heard called the butterfly method or the heart method. You write your numbers sideways like this, and you use, I use 4 different colors to show you what the action is going to be. But you take this first digit, multiply it by this first digit, the second digit, multiply it by this second digit. And on the bottom, you take the first digit and multiply it by the second digit, and then the second digit multiplied by the first digit. I'll use the colors to help keep track of what I'm doing. Okay. I'm first going to multiply this 2 times 1, but that's really a 20, and that's really a 10. So it's 20 times 10, so my answer is 200. Now, using the red, I'm multiplying 4 times 6, and it is just 4 times 6. They're both in the ones place, and 4 times 6 is 24. Multiplying using the purple, I'll multiply the 2 times the 6. That 2 is really a 20, so that's 20 times 6, or 120. Our final step is to multiply the 4 times 1, but that's really a 10, so it's 4 times 10, which is 40. Now, you could have multiplied those numbers in any order, the 2 times 1 or the 4 times 1 first. It really doesn't matter. At the end, though, you get a list of numbers that you need to add together. 4, that's 4. 2 plus 2 plus 4 is 8. And 2 plus 1 is 3. 384 is our answer. Again, this method I've heard as halves and doubles. We write our problem out above the top, 24 times 16, and we make a T-chart. The first thing we do is cut our left number in half. So half of 24 is 12. But on the right-hand side, we double our number. So double 16 is 32. And we keep doing that. So half of 12 is 6. But then we double 32 to make 64. Half of 6 is 3. We double 64 and get 128. Now we come to an issue where we have odd numbers. Well, you still cut it in half, but you drop any remainders, and you leave the odd numbers alone. You don't cross them off as we did with the even numbers. So half of 3 is 1 1/2. We'll get rid of the half and write down 1, and then we double 128, and we get 256. As soon as we get down to 1, we're done halving and doubling. The very next step then is to add the numbers that remain over here. 8 plus 6 is 14, 5 plus 2 plus 1 is 8, and then 1 plus 2 is 3. Notice we get the same answer of 384. The final method I'm going to show you for non-traditional multiplication is a unique one. I don't have a name for it. I never learned a name for it. But you start off by drawing lines. Now this on the screen right now represents 24. I have 2 10s right here, and I have 4 1s here. And they're drawn vertically. Now I want to represent 16 horizontally, so I'm going to draw, starting at the bottom, this represents 10. I'll skip some space, and these represent the 6 for 16. So I have these 2 going vertically that represent 20, and then these 4 that represents the 4, 24. And this one going horizontally, which represents the 10, and these 6 up here horizontally, which represents the 6 for 16. Now, I make a note of any point where those lines cross. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the points. So here are all the intersections, and now I very carefully separate the 4 groups like this. Now this area here becomes our 1s. This area here, including the bottom here, is our 10s, and then this area is our hundreds. So let's take a look at how many 1s that we have. Well, this is a 4 by 6. 6 times 4 is 24. So we have 24 1s. Now we take a look at how many 10s that we have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I've got 16 1s. So I write that right here. 16. And then I have down here 2 hundreds. I'm sorry, that was 16 10s. Now this is 2 hundreds. So I put that. Now, I can't have 24 1s. What I need to do is I need to carry that 2 over here and make that 18 10s. But then I can't have 18 10s. What I have to do is take this 1 and bring it over here and make that 3 hundreds. So, looking at each of the 1s, 10s, and hundreds, I have a 4 in the 1s place, I have an 8 in the 10s place, and a 3 in the hundreds place. 384. Definitely a unique way of doing a 2-digit times 2-digit multiplication problem. And those are some non-traditional methods of multiplication.